Hey everyone, it's Miss Queen Crypto, and I'm back again on the Embily channel, here with another video of Block Talk. I'm super excited to be doing these still. I've loved making the videos, and so if you've watched the past couple of ones, I really appreciate your support, and thank you very much. And if you're new here, I hope you stick around for a while. I hope that you come back next week or maybe even watch previous videos. Who knows? Up to you. But for today's episode, we're going to be talking about red flags in crypto. And so these are things that when you're hearing about a crypto and you're thinking you might want to invest and get involved with it, what might make you pump the brakes and reassess and think, okay, that's a little bit sketchy. Maybe this isn't a good idea. So basically identifying scams. So I think that a lot of people in this community are pretty literate online. And so that means like being able to identify, like you've got a good awareness of what is like a scam, what is scam like, and what passes the check. But obviously not everyone has that skill, like not everyone's worked up to that ability. And so it's important when we're talking about mass adoption, which I know I keep bringing that up, but I mean, that is the end goal of all of this. That's what we want. And so when we're talking about mass adoption, we need to talk about bringing up the credibility and the reputation of crypto. And so right now, mainstream media, it's kind of a Wild West type situation. Like you could definitely lose, like high stakes, you could lose a lot of money, maybe stay out of it. And I think that sentiment is starting to go down, but an important part of that is making sure that people are aware that yes, scams are out there. Not everything is a scam. There's a difference and there are ways to identify it. You just need to do a little bit of research. Don't invest in every single little project that you see online, but you also have to recognize that the whole point of this, it's like the stock market. It's possible you end up losing money. That's the name of the game. High risk, high reward. It's an investment. You're not guaranteed a return on your investment, but that's what we all want when we invest. So it's important to be cognizant about that. But with that, let's get into the red flags. Red flag number 1, pre-mines. Now I'm gonna insert a very early on caveat and say that not every coin that has a pre-mine is a scam. Again, this is something that like an accumulation, when you start noticing a lot of red flags, that is a good indicator to stay back. But just having a pre-mine is not a reason to totally shift your gaze and like go to a different coin. But it is something to be aware of. So first, what is a pre-mine? Basically, a pre-mine is when you've got a company or an individual even who's developing a coin, and you start, before the coin is on the market and before the coin is traded, you set aside a chunk of crypto, a chunk of the coins for the founders and developers and early investors who have supported the development of the coin. And so they're divvied up, but they each have a certain amount of that coin before it's even released to the public for trading. And so once the coin is released and you have people trading it, you have people buying and selling it, it's pretty normal. However, the issue comes in when someone who has a big stock of that pre-mine goes in and inflates the supply. And so they are able to get the price super, super high because people are like, oh my gosh, big sentiment. Oh my gosh, exciting. But then when they sell all of theirs at that higher price, it ends up crashing the price of the coin. And any of the investors who bought when the coin was first publicly available are kind of screwed at this point. They've lost all the money that they thought that they invested, and they no longer have like that opportunity that they thought when they initially bought into the coin. So again, something to be wary of, but not necessarily a scam. It doesn't mean it's a scam. The best idea or the best example of a pre-mine is Ethereum. Ethereum had a pre-mine, and I think most people currently, except for a couple of Bitcoin maximalists, would consider Ethereum a scam. It's one of the most reputable cryptos currently. So just something to be wary of. Red flag number 2, if there's no code published. Most cryptocurrencies at this point are open source, so their code is publicly available. I'd be able to look it up and get a full copy of it on my computer. And while I'm not the most proficient when it comes to coding, I know my basics around like MATLAB and Python, but I wouldn't be able to go line by line and really interpret what everything means. But that's not the important part of this. This is more to ensure that there is a code. The reason this is important is because there have been scams in the past, OneCoin being probably the most popular from 2017, where they end up racking up a ton of money from consumers and from just building a sentiment, a positive sentiment around their coin. And it turned out that there actually was never a coin at all. They did not have a product. It was entirely a hoax, but they ended up getting away with $25 billion. And so while not every single cryptocurrency that is reputable or is like not a scam, not every single one of them has their code published, but every single scam that you find will not have their fully published code. So again, it's something that it's important to be wary of. And if there is no published code, it's important to think of why. Like, what are they trying to hide? What is the reason for not having the code published? And if they have an FAQ section and it addresses that and it checks out to you, then go ahead, by all means, you are welcome to. But in most cases, it's something that should make you say red flag. Red flag number 3, a wacky white paper. And so one of the first things that I do whenever I hear about a new coin that I'm interested in is I go and check the white paper. It's pretty brass tacks, like the key points of the code or of the coin itself, like what it's here for, what it stands for, how they're going to achieve that, all that. It's the nitty gritty, but it's not too long. So this isn't saying like you need to go and read a whole novel every time you want to invest in a coin. No, it's a couple pages long at most. If there's no white paper, yikes, get out. Run far, far away. If they're offering you a coin that they don't have a white paper for, that's probably, what's worse than a red flag? A black flag? That's a black flag. Get out of there. But even if you read the white paper and you're like, what? This just doesn't make any sense at all. That's gibberish. They just wrote things on a page and decided to call it a white paper. That's also not great. Why would they do that? The white paper is supposed to be for the ICO, the initial coin offering. You don't want to BS that. That's a very important document that kind of lays out everything about your coin. It should make sense. It should not have typos in it. So if you notice any of those things, maybe don't invest. Maybe take a step back and find a coin with a white paper that you're like, yeah, that checks out. I don't see anything wrong with this. So yeah, just make sure that you're assessing and using your critical thinking when it comes to the white paper, and check the white paper. Red flag number 4. If when you look up the team members on the website, you either can't find them or they're not real. So this might take a little bit more research, but if you were to look at the Instagram profiles, the Twitter profiles, any of the profiles for a team member they list, and you either can't find anything, or it's definitely a weird account that was created recently, or there's only a couple of followers, or they're clearly fake followers. I know from my time on like Instagram as being a teenage girl, it's very easy to detect when there are fake followers. You can tell when someone's bought followers. And so then you get to thinking, well, why would they do that? Likely, it's probably not a real person. They're probably using a fake name. The person doesn't exist. And then you have to go to why would they want to do that? The developers and the team that is building the project should be proud of the product they're creating. They should be excited to put their name on the project. And if they're not, you need to ask yourself, why would you want to invest in something that the developers aren't willing to put their name on? Likely, it's probably a scam that they don't want to be tied to. So it's important to have that suspicion when you're looking at these things. And if they don't list any team members, that's also a red flag. Why are you not? What are you so scared of? It's the same thing. Why don't you want to be tied to this product? And I already know, like, Satoshi Nakamoto, that's anonymous. They didn't put their names on it, or he didn't put his name on it, or she didn't put her name on it. Anonymity is one thing, and when you're creating something for the sake of having anonymity in the creator, that's different. If everything else looks fairly normal, but they're being really, really sketchy about who's creating it, and they're posing as people, and they're creating new people, that's something that you might want to be wary of. So this is not an extensive list. I'm sure there are multiple things that you can think of, and there are more things that I can think of that are indicative of whether or not something is a scam, but we're going to leave it at those 4 for today. If you have any that you use or things that you're often cognizant about, leave it in the comments. I'd love to know. I'm sure that you have some really cool ones that I would never even think of. But for today, that's it. And hopefully, if you're new and you're looking for ways to discern whether things are scams or not, this gives you enough of a groundwork level basis that you're able to go out, and when you do your own research, you're able to raise some red flags and raise your suspicions about things that just don't check out. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up, like it, and follow me on Twitter at Miss Queen Crypto if you want to see more content from me. Thank you so much. Bye for now.